Hey guys, so I wanted to cover today dog collars. There's so many out there on the market. They're used for a multitude of things, and so I want to go over each one. A lot of these collars do not come with instructions. They don't tell you how to put the collar on. They don't tell you how to use the collar correctly. So there's a lot of misinformation, but there's a lot of people that are using these collars to the best of their knowledge, and they're not being used correctly. So they're not getting the full effect. Some collars, what I call training collars, and those are used when you are actively training your dog. Once the lesson is over, that collar comes off, okay? There's other collars that can be on 24/7 to wear their identification, that kind of stuff. And I'll cover both of those and show you examples from each. So the first collar I'm going to cover, and I'm going to use my trusty little troublemaker here who terrorizes all the dogs that come into my shop. But I'm going to use him to show you an example of each of these collars, how to put them on, as well as the technique that is to be used with each of these collars. Okay? Hopefully this will help you on your journey. You can figure out kind of what works best for you and your animal. If you have any questions, you can always leave them in the comments below, and I will answer them. I will go through them. If you have a recommendation, maybe you want a little bit more instruction on a particular collar, let me know. I'll do a video and post it for you. So just, keep me in the loop and let me know what you guys want to see, and then I will help you with that. The idea of this is really to just get the information out there to the public, to people who just don't know. When I first started, when I had my first dog, the only thing I ever heard of was the choke collar, the prong collars, and I didn't like them because I didn't know how to use them. I didn't know, what the technique were. The prong collar, I thought it looked barbaric, and it made me nervous, so I didn't like it. So therefore I didn't use it. I actually used a head collar, which I thought was great because it controlled the dog. What I learned was that was more of a management tool and not really a training tool. So, I've learned over the years what to use, but I also went to school to learn how to be a dog trainer, how to teach the commands, and all the psychology and stuff that goes into why dogs do what they do. So when I went to this school, I knew I had to keep an open mind. And I didn't want to go there with these preconceived notions of I don't like this, I don't like that, so I'm not using it. So I was open to what they told me, what they explained to me, and they showed us, how these collars were designed, what they were designed to do, and how the general public uses them, and how they get the bad name. Okay, so I want to cover some of that. So I'm going to start off with what they call the choke collar. It's actually a chain collar, but we call it the choke collar because it is known for when people pull and choke the dog. And that's because, for one, they didn't put it on correctly, and then they're not using it correctly. So we're going to start here. I've got my little guy. Okay, let me lower you down so you can see what we're doing. All right. A little bit further. Here we go. So you can see this collar here. Okay, it's got the fabric in it. It's actually the same thing as this one here. Okay, this is a chain collar. This is what you have, that choke collar. You get the noise. Okay, so you can see this is what it is. This is a much larger one. Okay, this one here has fabric going through it. It actually interferes with the technique that's supposed to be used to get the noise from this collar. So the fabric looks cute, but it actually hinders its actual use. I'm using it so that you can actually see with the camera how it's supposed to be sitting, how to put it on, that kind of stuff. Okay, so we're going to take this off, slip it right over the head. You'll see the collar here. This is kind of what it looks like. Okay, you've got the hook here that the leash goes to. Okay, and you see how when I pull up and go back down, how it releases itself. That's what it's supposed to do. What happens is people put it on backwards, so it doesn't release. That's how you end up in the choking motion, okay? So it goes on, but then it can't release. So if you're standing to the right of the dog, this is the dog's head, that's the collar. This should be over the top of that hook. You see here? And that bottom one is so that way it releases. When you release the leash, it comes off. It loosens, okay? So as we put this on the dog, we slide it over the dog's head like this, okay? There we go. Now you can just see right here where it's at, okay? And you can see how it loosens. Okay. Bring it to the side here. The technique used with this, now you should have up underneath the neck here, okay? You're standing here. The idea is that you zip it. You hear that little noise. That noise is what gets the dog's attention. The idea is not to hold it and pull the dog around, but this is what people do. Okay, so that's how they end up choking the dog out. That's not what the collar was designed to do. The collar was designed so that you zip and release. And that noise being so close to the ears, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard. It gets the dog's attention and they will look at you, okay? So you would zip it and release it. You see how it releases itself, okay? That's it. A little bit of force, but it should release itself. Now I'll do it the other way and you'll see how it does not release. Okay. Oh, I just put it on the same way. Turn it. Here we go. Okay, so now it's on backwards. Okay, I'm going to zip it and see how it doesn't release. Look at all that extra I still have here. So you can keep doing it, but it's not going to release here. Not like it did the other way. Okay, so it's on backwards. So that limits your ability to get that metal zip. Okay? Good. So you just put it on here. Again, you try to keep it high underneath that chin. You can kind of see here, right underneath that jawbone there. Okay, and then right behind the ears up top. Right there. Okay, you just kind of give that little zip. Yes, it's going to go down on its own. That's what the collar is going to do. You have to bring it back up. And you just give that little zip. Okay. Now, this type, having that fabric in there, limits the zip. It limits that noise. So it's not as annoying to the dog's ears. And that's what you don't want. Okay, so yes, it looks cute, but unfortunately, you don't get the full effect with something like this. That's why you have the plain chain collar. This one here. Okay, because you get a much better noise. Now the other thing I see is people put a collar like this on a small dog like this. Okay? That's too big. See if you can get to back a ways. But you can see here how big this is. It's too big for the dog. Okay, now you've got all of this space here. That's a good what? 10 inches of space that this dog can flip around and jump and throw this. You don't want that. You need something smaller like that one. So it just depends on the size of the dog. That's why they come in so many different sizes. Okay, but you'll hear the noise much louder because it's just the chain. That's what you're looking for. When you do that noise, that dog's going to turn and look at you. When he looks at you, you praise. Yes, that's a good boy. That's better. So you're getting him to look at you versus he looks at you and then you tell him, no, bad boy, you blah, 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 blah. Okay? Once that you want that dog looking at you, therefore when he does, you praise him. You don't carry on about why you corrected him. Okay, so that's the chain collar or the choker collar. That's what it was designed to do.